land for jobs scam, wherein Delhi court has now granted interim bail to Rabri Devi, Hema and Misa Bharati. This is the particular information that we are receiving. Remember, they were supposed to appear in front of the court today under the PMLA case, and also what we had learned and we also brought to you is the fact that the land for jobs case is something which regards to the state of Bihar, the Bihar government, wherein this was for Lalu Yadav serving in the role of railway minister between 2004 to 2009, and right now what we are learning is Delhi court has granted interim bail. Only a few weeks back, Lalu Yadav and Tejasvi Yadav had both been questioned as well with regards to this case. Let's now go to Ananya Bhatnagar to understand this in greater depth. Ananya, what we are learning currently is that the Delhi court has granted interim bail to Rabri Devi, Hema and Misa Bharti. If you could take us through what exactly was the decision or the verdict that has been announced so far.
Neither of the three, Misa Bharati, Rabri Devi or Hema Yadav have been arrested in this particular case. And as per the judgment of Satyendra Kumar Until versus the Union of India of the Supreme Court, it is very, very clear if a person is not arrested in a particular investigation. In a particular investigation, the agency has taken a conscious decision to not arrest a particular person, then it is very easy for that particular person to secure a relief in a particular case. And similar is the case with all of these three people of the Lalu family. And very clearly, the court has now given them interim bail on a bail bond of ₹1 lakh and a surety of like amount. Remember that the interim bail has been granted because the Enforcement Directorate had sought some time to file a reply to this bail application, and granting that opportunity, interim bail has been granted. However, the court has taken note that these people were consciously not arrested by the Enforcement Directorate in this particular investigation. Remember that the land for jobs scam saga had been happening for quite a long time. In fact, Lalu and Tejasvi were recently questioned in this particular case. However, this is a big relief coming in for the Lalu family. Clearly, bail being granted to the former Bihar Chief Minister Rabri Devi along with her daughters Misa Bharati and Hema Yadav in this particular case. How much of does it affect the investigation, whether or not the ED will take a conscious decision to go on further in this particular case against all of these three persons, and how will the ED prove its case against these three persons is something that we'll have to wait and watch for. But definitely this land for jobs scam saga erupts only right after, in fact, there was a battle of royale in fact the state of Bihar, and post that this is the first time after that Game of Thrones thing that all of them have appeared before the court today and have now secured a bail in this particular investigation that has been carried out by the Enforcement Directorate.
Right, Ananya. Ananya, so help us understand this. We'll also bring some more information to our viewers firstly, wherein the ED, as my colleague said, that ED is permitted to file a reply, and the accused persons are entitled to interim bail until the next date on bail bond of ₹1 lakh. Now, since the accused are not arrested consciously by the agency, they are not required to custody, and no need of their arrest is required as the court records in its order. Now, right now, Ananya, do help us understand this, that while we understand that the Delhi court has granted an interim bail, what may lie ahead for Rabri Devi, Hema Yadav and Misa Bharti after the ED's reply, as we know that the ED is yet to file in their reply in this case?
Well, we'll have to wait and watch as to how things pan out when it comes to the response of the Enforcement Directorate, whether or not the Enforcement Directorate would be opposing this particular bail application. What would the Enforcement Directorate be saying about all of these three persons? But one thing is very, very clear in this particular case, that the Satyendra Kumar Until judgment plays a very, very crucial role, and since all of them have not been arrested by the Enforcement Directorate in this particular case, then securing a regular bail would also would be a kind of a cakewalk for them. However, the Enforcement Directorate's reply can play a key role, but the balance of convenience actually lies with all of these three accused persons of the Lalu family. So we'll have to wait and watch as to how things pan out when the Enforcement Directorate comes up with its reply before, in fact, the Delhi's Rouse Avenue Court. Remember, this is Special CBI Judge Vishal Gogne, which has now granted them an interim relief, and that could convert into a regular one on the next date of hearing.
Right, Ananya. Ananya, just to set context for our viewers, if you could take us through the charge sheet that had been filed in this particular case, just to understand what exactly was the case all about.
Well, the case actually stemmed from a Central Bureau of Investigation, investigation that had taken place with regards to a land for jobs scam. Basically, jobs are being granted in railways in exchange of land which was purchased at minimal prices is what the allegation of the Central Bureau of Investigation was. The Enforcement Directorate registered an ECIR, that is, the FIR of the Enforcement Directorate with regards to the money laundering that had happened. And former Bihar Chief Minister Lalu Yadav was at that point of time, in fact, the Railways Minister. He was at the helm of the railways, and that's exactly what the charge of the Enforcement Directorate is, that while he was at the helm of the railways, he had, on the pretext of granting jobs to various people, had purchased certain land units which were later transferred to his family members, and in exchange of those land parcels in very, very small amount of, even very, very lesser than that particular market rate at that point of time, these land parcels were purchased, and some in fact were given as gifts to Hema Yadav and Rabri Devi and other family members of the then Railways Minister and former Bihar Chief Minister Lalu Prasad Yadav, is what the case of the Enforcement Directorate is. Various people, including Amit Katyal and certain railway officials, have also been under the scanner of the agency. However, in the particular Enforcement Directorate investigation, only one person, Amit Katyal, has been arrested, who is said to be a close aide of Lalu Prasad Yadav. While with regards to the Central Bureau of Investigation, the CBI had registered and filed certain charge sheets into this particular case, saying that the investigation in this case is still required to go on. There are various land parcels, there are still need to be unearthed, and the whole larger conspiracy that led to this particular money laundering aspect also is to be seen. So we'll have to wait and watch as to how things actually pan out in this investigation, what the Enforcement Directorates actually find, and whether or not, the big question still remains to be answered. A big charge sheet could be expected if at all Lalu Prasad Yadav or Tejasvi Yadav is arrested by the Enforcement Directorate, but that can only happen if at all the ED has a higher grounds to arrest, because remember that in a case of PMLA, under section 19 of the PMLA, there are higher standards to arrest a particular person. You have to have clear-cut material to implicate a particular person in a particular case. You cannot arrest somebody just like the CRPC. There are higher grounds, higher thresholds to arrest a particular person. So we'll have to wait and watch for all of that. But at this point of time, big relief coming in for the Lalu family. Misa Bharati, Rabri Devi and Hema Yadav granted interim bail by Delhi's Rouse Avenue Court. Sriya.